Caitlin Clark just ended the Rookie of the Year discussions this week, and thank God, because it was getting ridiculous. For those who haven't been keeping up with the WNBA this year, you are missing out, because honestly, it feels like being on the ground floor of something that's going to be massive for years to come. More specifically, this year introduced us to a stacked rookie class that probably will go down as the greatest in WNBA history because of its impact, headlined by Caitlin Clark along with Angel Reese, Camila Cardoso, Cameron Brink, Rickea Jackson, and a couple other names. The Rookie of the Year race, however, has pretty much been a two-player discussion the whole year between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. And quite frankly, it's probably the best thing the WNBA could have asked for, because these last 2 years, the rivalry between Caitlin and Angel has been one of the main catalysts for the increased interest in the W. It's a rivalry that's caused a lot of people, but not everyone, to pick a side between the two, and unfortunately, that conversation isn't necessarily 100% rooted in just basketball talk. And I do want to re-emphasize the word unfortunately, because unfortunately, the Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese discourse has been one of those things that a lot of people have just been using as a jumping board to get their takes off, even if they don't even care about basketball, let alone the growth of the WNBA specifically. They just want to get their shit off. But nevertheless, it has been a rivalry that has put and will continue to put a lot of eyes on not just the WNBA, but women's basketball as a whole. So to recap the seasons that these two rookies have had, let's go ahead and start off with Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark this season has been averaging roughly 19 points, 8 assists, 6 rebounds to go along with a steal and the block, while putting up splits of 42% from the field, 34% from 3, and 90% from the line. A true shooting of 59% for my stat nerds out there. The Indiana Fever, as of the recording of this video, currently have the 6th best record in the league, 3rd in their conference at 17-16, which is pretty crazy considering how they started off the season. For those who don't know, they started off the season 1-8 in a 40-game regular season. To put it into NBA terms, literally from NBA fans out there, it's like starting 2-18 in the NBA and then coming back to the playoff picture. Like, that's crazy. On the other hand, we have Chicago Sky's Angel Reese, who's been averaging roughly 13 points, 13 rebounds, 5 of those being offensive rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, and half a block a game, while shooting 39% from the field, 17% from 3, and 74% from the line, with a true shooting of 46%. The Sky, who started off the season 4-9, haven't been as successful as the Fever as the season progressed, and currently have a record of 11-21, the 8th best record in the league, being 5.5 games back from the Fever. For some of y'all who have kept up with this conversation, this may sound like me beating a dead horse, but with less than 10 games left into the season, the Rookie of the Year race is virtually over. There's nothing in these next 10 games that's going to happen that's going to drastically change the outlook of this award. Unless, again, something extreme happens, like, I don't know, the Sky winning the rest of their games, the Fever losing all of their games, Angel Reese just turns into prime Kevin Garnett, and then Caitlin Clark turns into Carson Edwards out there. Not too much on Carson Edwards, though. Relax. The arguments are pretty much cemented, and quite frankly, to me, this hasn't been close for a very long time. And to people like Lisa Leslie who believe the race is so close that they both deserve the Rookie of the Year award, no, I do think the gap is sizable enough to properly crown a winner. The conversation just keeps going because, to their credit, both players keep on continuing to make history, for better or for worse. Caitlin Clark this season has broken the record for assists in a single season, and simultaneously, she also broke the turnover record as well by a very wide margin. And again, the season isn't over. Angel Reese broke the record for the most double-doubles in a row in WNBA history, and recently also broke the record for most rebounds in a single season ever, period. But again, simultaneously, she has become one of the most inefficient players in the league, especially for the volume she shoots at. Now, shout out to friend of the show, Lo, for this graphic. This graphic right here illustrates that Angel Reese simultaneously shoots a lot of shots within the restricted area and is by far the least efficient by a very wide margin at doing so. But if we just pause for a second, you know, maybe take 1, maybe 2... okay, maybe we need to take 3 steps back, because a lot of y'all are really too deep into this conversation that some of y'all aren't making any sense anymore. To me, there really isn't that much of a conversation to be had still. To her credit, Angel Reese is undisputably the better rebounder, to the point where you can make the argument that she is already in her rookie year the best rebounder in the league and is well on pace to be one of the best rebounders of all time already. If you want to say Angel Reese is the better defender, honestly, I'll give it to you. However, whatever gap there is defensively and whatever gap there is in rebounding just isn't wide enough to give the edge overall to Angel Reese, considering the fact that A, Caitlin Clark isn't a horrible defender herself, and B, the gap offensively is way too wide to hold on to the defense so much. Caitlin is averaging 5 to 6 more points a game while being more efficient from every single area on the court, outside of the 10 to 16 feet mark. But even then, we're looking at a 3% difference on a shot that they both take 2 to 4% of the time. So they don't even shoot that many 10 to 16 footers. And then when it comes to passing, listen, I understand that Caitlin Clark is a turnover machine. But even with that, if we're going to act like there is a conversation to be had between Caitlin Clark's passing ability and Angel Reese's passing ability, then we might as well have the same conversations about the rebounding then, I guess. Like, there is a sizable gap. It just seems like with Caitlin, the goalpost keeps on moving. At first, she wasn't going to adjust to the WNBA well enough.
Reality is coming. There's levels to this thing. You're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time.
But by game 6 into the season, when she already had multiple 20-point per game performances, had 5+ assists and rebounds in a couple of these games, it became pretty clear that she was going to be fine in her rookie season. But even if you want to move the goalpost in this specific discussion to, but y'all told me she was gonna dominate the W like the way she did in college. I mean, if you look at what she's doing over these last 10, 11 games, it's honestly not that far off. And then it became, but she's not efficient enough. Can't really bring that up much when the comparison is Angel Reese, but even when we're just talking about Caitlin Clark, in her first 14 games, she was shooting 37% from the field. And ever since then, and we're talking about a 19-game sample size, that field goal percentage has moved all the way up to 46%. And then it became, but she's a turnover machine. She averages like 5 to 6 turnovers a game, which is fair. And to be honest with you, she still is a turnover machine. However, her assists per game has gone up from 6 assists in the first half of the season all the way up to 10.6 in the second half of the season, damn near doubling her assists per game. And then at some point in the season, the talking points started to become about team success when it comes to both teams' records.
My rookie of the year is going to go based on the standings. Okay. Because I think that is how you have the opportunity to measure impact.
And the sky's right above them.
And the sky right now are in the playoffs, so you'd have to give the nod in my mind to Angel Reese.
But even back then, when you looked at the standings, the Chicago Sky were only up by like half a game. As soon as the Fever moved up in the standings, those arguments went away. And especially now that the gap is 5.5 games, that hasn't been brought up since. At this point, if you just don't like Caitlin Clark, just say that. Stop moving the needle and acting like you're this unbiased ass person. You clearly have a bias, and no matter what she does, the goalpost keeps on moving. I'm just gonna keep it a buck, and that is all pun intended, don't get me wrong. The closest NBA comparison I can think of to this race will be like comparing Luka to DeAndre Ayton in their rookie season. Sure, DeAndre Ayton was the better rebounder by a wide margin. Hell, DeAndre Ayton even had the efficiency on his side. But compared to the offensive player that Luka was in his rookie season, there really wasn't a conversation. There really wasn't. Now, a point that was brought up in this conversation is, why are we comparing these players like they play the same position and the same roles? And you know what? That's a fair argument to be had. But I'm sorry, awards like Rookie of the Year, and honestly a lot of these other awards, if not every single other award, forces people to compare players who play different positions. Right, there are inherent differences in the role, the physical attributes, and the positions that they play that would make one player probably be better in one category over the other. But this is a tale as old as time and isn't something specific to this race. We've been forced as voters, as fans, to choose between James Harden and Giannis before. We've been forced to choose between Steve Nash and Dirk Nowitzki before. You probably had a debate between who's higher all time, Steph Curry or Hakeem Olajuwon this summer. That just is what it is. If we are going to have to pick a winner for these awards, and the specific restriction we put on it is just everyone who's a rookie, then yeah, we are going to have to compare a power forward to a point guard if both players are having tremendous seasons. This is going to sound like the lame solution, but to be honest with you, the solution is just not to hold so much weight on these awards and to not go crazy over these arbitrary ass player rankings that we like to do. I do think the most unfortunate part about all of this is that the conversation has gotten so toxic that a lot of WNBA fans can't even appreciate who Angel Reese is as a rookie. I think enough people appreciate Caitlin Clark's rookie season for me not to say that to her. Again, she probably is going to win Rookie of the Year. She probably is going to be on all WNBA teams. People already view her as arguably the face of the league, with all due respect to A'ja Wilson. But in terms of marketability and popularity, I ain't gonna lie, it is just different right now with Caitlin Clark. But there's been so much discourse about how unimpressive Angel Reese's double-double streak was because of how inefficient she is and how this isn't moving the needle in terms of the race no matter how many rebounds she gets, that not enough people are talking about how, cool, Angel Reese isn't as good as Caitlin, all right? Cool, she probably isn't going to win Rookie of the Year. But in her own rookie season for the Chicago Sky, she has already stamped herself as a generational rebounder. And quite frankly, if she can just work on her touch around the rim alone, she easily has the potential to be a 20 points and 12 rebounds a night player. Maybe even 20 points and 14 rebounds, like once she starts peaking. And that is something that should be celebrated. But because we want to keep pushing this Rookie of the Year race and keep comparing these two, we can't even properly celebrate Angel Reese's potential, to be honest with you. The Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark conversation at this point is a disservice to both players. And we need to move on as a community because Caitlin Clark, we should be talking about her in all WNBA team discussions. And we should just be celebrating Angel Reese's potential moving forward. The race is done. Let's go. With that being said, if y'all like this video, go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'm going to catch you on the next one. Peace.